All right, so today we're going to break down a truly timeless story. It's all about power, pride, and that long, hard road to redemption. You know, a classic hero's journey. We're going to look at how a literal god of thunder, this guy who's defined by his incredible strength, ends up learning that real worthiness, well, it doesn't come from the hammer he's holding, but from what's inside his heart. And you know, the very first lesson he gets comes straight from his dad.
And here it is, the whole story in a nutshell. This is the core idea, a bit of fatherly advice from Odin himself. Seriously, this one sentence, it sets the stage for our hero's entire journey. And it's not just a warning, you know? It's more like a prophecy, laying out the exact test his son is about to fail, spectacularly.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning, right? We're meeting our hero Thor when he's at the absolute top of his game. I mean, he's got the strength, he's got the title, everyone loves him. But, and it's a big but, he has a fatal flaw, and that one thing is about to bring his whole world crashing down. Now, you can't talk about Thor without talking about his hammer, Mjolnir, and this thing is legendary. Forged in the heart of a dying star, it's so much more than just a weapon. Think of it as a symbol of incredible responsibility. And that enchantment, that's the real kicker. It's basically a moral compass built right into the hammer. It's not about serving the strongest guy in the room, it's about serving the best.
And in the beginning, oh man, Thor makes it look easy. He's wielding this incredible power without a second thought. So after he just crushes this huge stone monster, the crowd goes wild. And that feeling, that thrill of victory, it starts to feed something kind of dangerous inside him. A simple win is quickly turning into some serious pride. And here we go. We get to hear it in his own words. He's standing over this defeated enemy, and he's not thinking, job well done. Nope. It's just pure, uncut arrogance. For him, this power isn't about protecting people anymore. It's all about proving how much better he is than everyone else.
So this really gets to the heart of the conflict, doesn't it? On one side, you've got Odin, who's seen it all, basically saying, hey, pride makes you blind. And on the other side, you've got Thor, who just completely blows him off. He hears his dad's wisdom and just thinks it's doubt. For Thor, the only thing that's real is his own strength.
Well, as you can probably guess, that kind of arrogance, it never ends well. It always has consequences. So let's get into Act 2 and see how all that pride leads directly to a massive, catastrophic fall from grace.
And you know what? It all boils down to one single careless act. He's just showing off, right? He's fighting this wild boar and decides to unleash this insane bolt of lightning. Well, it takes care of the boar, but it also completely torches a poor farmer's entire harvest. The very people he's supposed to be protecting are now just collateral damage for his ego trip.
And that's the last straw. Odin shows up, and he's not just a king anymore. He is a furious father. You can just imagine his voice booming like thunder. He lays down this judgment that's both a punishment and a really harsh lesson. Those words, they literally strip Thor of everything he is.
This is it, rock bottom. You see Mjolnir just thud into the ground, and that magical enchantment, it's like a lock, and Thor doesn't have the key anymore. The mighty god of thunder is just kneeling in the mud. No power, no title, no pride, just completely, utterly broken. But, you know, this is where the real story starts. This is where the hero's journey actually begins. Act 3 is all about him rebuilding himself. Not his strength, but his character. This is Thor's path back to being worthy, and it kicks off with him having absolutely nothing to his name. So how does he do it? Well, his whole transformation really happens in these 3 crucial steps. First, and this has got to be tough, he has to swallow his pride and accept charity from the exact same guy whose life he messed up. Then, he has to actually learn what hard work feels like, you know, getting his hands dirty in the fields. And the final step? He has to find courage when he has no power at all, facing danger as just a regular mortal guy.
And then the farmer says this to him. It's such a simple line, but it's a massive lesson for Thor. For the first time, he gets that perseverance isn't about one big glorious battle. It's about the quiet, day in, day out struggle that mortals go through. He's starting to see a completely different kind of strength, a kind of leadership that has zero to do with lightning.
And then the ultimate test arrives. A massive flood hits, and the farmer's child gets swept away. And Thor, he doesn't even hesitate. No hammer, no godlike powers, nothing. He just dives right into that raging water. It's a completely selfless act. He's not thinking about glory. He's just driven by this basic human instinct to save a kid. This is the turning point.
And that moment brings us right into our final act, the hero reborn. He's proven who he is, not through power, but through sacrifice. And now Thor is finally ready to face his past and, maybe, reclaim his future.
And what's so powerful here is that it's Immortal, the farmer, who sees the change in him first. He's the one who tells him he's ready. He recognizes that Thor's worthiness isn't about being a god anymore. It's about the fact that he's proven himself to be a good man.
And listen to this. For the very first time, Thor actually hesitates. He doubts himself. That old arrogance is just gone. And in its place is this real, deep understanding of what worthy even means. He's not just assuming the power is his for the taking anymore. He's genuinely scared he might not get it back. And that humility, that's the last piece of the puzzle falling into place.
So, there he is. He walks up to the hammer, this thing that represents both his greatest failure and his only hope. You can just imagine him taking a deep breath, thinking about everything he's been through. And he reaches out and grips the handle, not with that old godly arrogance, but with the quiet hope of a man who's finally learned his lesson.
And it lifts. The hammer answers. The magic inside it recognizes the change in him. Lightning fills the sky, but it's not destructive this time. It's like a celebration. All that power comes flooding back, but he is not the same person who lost it. In a way, he's been reforged, just like the hammer was long ago.
And you can see his new understanding immediately. What's his first move? It's not to go looking for a fight or to show off, nope. The first thing he does is use his power to heal the very land he destroyed. It's a total shift, right? From leadership is being the strongest to leadership is about serving others. He finally sees his strength as a tool to help people, and he actually thanks the mortals who taught him how to be humble.
So when he gets back home, Odin doesn't give him an "I told you so." Instead, he greets him with these words of wisdom. And this is the lesson he wanted his son to learn all along. That a real king, a real hero, isn't defined by how much power they have. They're defined by how much responsibility they're willing to carry and how much compassion they have in their heart.
And that really leaves us with this one big question to think about, doesn't it? What does it truly mean to be worthy of power? This whole story suggests that worthiness isn't some title you're given or a strength you're just born with. It's something you have to earn over and over again, through being humble, through serving others, through sacrifice. And that's a question not just for gods, but for any of us who hold any kind of power at all.